you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV.
What is up, legends? It's Mark here. And we're motherfucking live, baby. What is good? On this lovely fucking Monday night, we're here. It's good to see y'all, man. It's good to see y'all. I missed you. It's been a little minute since we did a live, huh? All right. Let me know where you guys are listening in from today on this lovely night. Where in the world? I better see at least 5 people in Australia. And then on the schedule today, we got to Ask Me Anything, an AMA, a Q&A, open for an hour, ask Mark whatever your heart desires. And then Mark is peacing out and going to run more ads because that's really all that matters in this life. I'm like 99% sure. Still figuring it out though. All right, we got the Vincent. What's up? Human highlighter called me his favorite autist. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. Luca, what's up? Ryan from Michigan. We got Canada, Atlanta, Chicago, motherfucking San Diego, Toronto, Canada, New York City, South Central LA, Thailand, Honolulu, New York City, Norway, Texas. We got 1 Australian, 2 Australians, Brazil, Massachusetts, LA, Florida, Tunisia, tuning in from 11. We got Mark runs ads. Another Australian. All right, we got at least 5 in here for sure. I've seen 4. There's probably one that's being a little quiet Aussie. All right, guys, let's have some fun. Drop some questions in the chat, and full transparency, I don't answer every single question, man. I get a lot of them, but I try to pick the ones that are going to provide the most amount of value to everybody else. So that's my nice way of saying ask a good fucking question. I got 50K. How do I turn that to 100K? Gambling. Next question. All right, Vincent, what's up, bro? Hey, stuck at roughly 10K a day in the Scandinavian markets. Been trying to crack English-speaking countries for a while by running Scandinavian winners in those countries. KPIs tend to be good. What's the fucking question? But conversion rate sucks. Conversion rate sucks in Scandinavia. Dude, there's a lot of people that get into e-com and get their first 5-6 figures under their belt in European markets. But so many people struggle to get into the US and actually make the US profitable. The US is a tough fucking market. You basically have to take everything that you're doing and do it 10 times better. I remember when I was young, I would go practice at this basketball camp every single day in the summer because I wasn't playing club ball at the time, but I went and played with these NBA players, these D League guys, and D1, D2, D3 guys. And I'd go train there, and they would always kick my fucking ass. And I remember when I'd play against these guys, I was like, what is it that makes them so fucking good? Is there some secret moves that they're using that I just don't know how to use? What is it? And the truth is, when people say there's levels to this shit, they're right. But it's not there's some secret strategy that they know that you don't. It literally just comes down to the fact that they are so much better at everything than you. Simple, I'll use basketball because I'm talking about basketball. Simple dribbling, ball handling. They're so much better than you. Being able to do a 1 dribble pull up. They are infinitely better than you. It's infinitely more smooth, infinitely faster. But the technique is roughly the same. They've just done so many more reps than you that they would kick your ass in any fucking drill. The same is true with business and going from basically comparing the D League, or it's called the G League now, to selling in Europe, and then the NBA is selling in the US. This is a pretty good analogy. Europeans are going to get a little offended, but it's fucking true, bro. You have to be really fucking good to scale in the US. So they're like, oh, I took my winning ads that were winning in Scandinavian markets and tried them over in the US and it didn't work. Well, they're not good enough. Like there's a little bit of nuance in regards to like the payment processing and a few cultural differences. But for the most part, zoom out 30,000 feet, creatives have to be better. Funnel has to be better. That's it. The good thing about selling to America and selling in the US is that we have the best customers, meaning customers that spend the most money. Highest AOV out of any country, typically across the world. There's very rarely exceptions, occasionally like Canada or UK, but Americans are just known for buying a lot of fucking shit, man. So if you're selling in Europe and you're trying to transition to the US, obviously take your winners and give those a test. But if that doesn't work, unless there's some cultural difference, right, between the angles that you're using in Scandinavian markets versus what you're using in the US, you just have to be better in every single way. And that's just the fucking truth. All right, next question. Should a newbie not run ads in the US then? I think if you speak a language outside of English, you have a competitive advantage yourself. You have the competitive advantage of being able to sell in a less competitive country in that native language. Like if I spoke German, I would 100% be selling in the German market. If I spoke more than 3 words of Norwegian, which I do not, unfortunately, I think it's exactly 3 words that I know, I would totally be selling in that market, 100%. Now, the caveat with those markets, obviously, is that there's limitations to scale. Like you can bank, 1 to 300K a month, no problem with those markets, but eventually that's going to get old and you're going to want to make more and you're going to want to scale harder. And you're just going to reach this level like 10K a day. And every time you try to scale past it, something breaks. And a lot of times that simply just means that you're saturating the market. I mean, bro, in all of Norway, I'll take Norway as an example because I was just living there. There's 5 million people in Norway. Someone can fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure I remember this correctly. 5 million people in Norway. I live in Miami. There's more than 5 million people in Miami alone, one metropolitan city in the US. The same is true with a few different countries in Europe. So like you can't expect to have the same level of scale, All right, next question. Phantom. I'm 19, about to be 20. What do you recommend for starting any sort of venture? Been super into finance and business, learning a lot. That's fucking dope, dude. You remind me of myself. I was super into finance and business when I was your age too. Wow, that makes me sound like fucking unk. Makes me sound like I got fucking unk status, bro. Jesus. What would I do for starting any sort of venture? I actually think about this a lot, man. And I think about if I were to go back when I was younger, what advice would I give my younger self? And if I could go back and tell myself something, it would be that I'm doing all the right things. My introduction to entrepreneurship was not fucking pretty. I thought it was going to be so much easier than it was in reality. But I had a chunk of cash saved up. And I was in university, I was going to class, I was getting into the gym, I was trying to not be a skinny little bitch. And I was doing my homework. And any time that I wasn't doing one of those things, I was working on my business. And I just continued to eat shit day after day after day. Failed product, failed product, failed product, failed ad, failed ad, failed ad. Failure, 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 failure. But looking back, the amount of character that I built through that process and the amount of shit that I learned during that process, I would not want to trade that for anything. I was literally just like accruing XP. I was just getting XP. That's anytime I go through something like that people think is difficult in life, like where you're really, really fucking broke and you got to make some money or you're going to be like, you're not going to pay your rent, or like you're really out of fucking shape and like you just hate the way that you look in your mirror. You're filled with so much fucking shame of how you look and you're just a big fat fuck and you just fucking hate it. But going through those things, the process of getting better, what you're doing is you're accruing experience points, and you can squeeze XP into a very, very short period of time. Like for example, before I had made my first 6 figures, I lost money for 9 months straight. I tested 50 products without seeing a winner. Hormozy, also shout out to Hormozy. That webinar was amazing. Fucking legend. But he had this clip that I saw where he was like, I started 9 businesses before I like saw success. That means I started one, worked my ass on it, failed. I did the same thing, not at the same level because a product and business is different, but I tested 50 products. That means I researched for hours, found a product, tested it, failed. Move on to the next one, research a product for hours, tested it, failed. 50 times in a row. 50, bro. 50 fucking times. I don't want to hear shit from y'all. But the point that I'm trying to make is like I fit somehow, my fucking retarded ass, I fit 50 failed products into 9 months of learning. Most people would take years to test that many products, but I was just accruing experience, like experience. Every time I go through something difficult, even if it's hard, I know that I'm just getting better faster than anybody else. So back to the original question, bro. It was about what should I do at like 18 or 19, interested in business and finance? The best advice that I can give you is get your fucking hands dirty. Start something. I like e-commerce because it's the true definition of freedom once you crack it. If you look at all the other side hustles out there and like pick one, you're going to be a slave to something. There's a lot of people in like high ticket closing, high ticket setting. You're a slave to your offer and your offer owner. There's a lot of people in like copywriting or AI copywriting. You're a slave to your clients. A lot of people in SMMA, also a slave to your clients. They could cut off your income at any point. Just gone. You have a whale client paying you 10K a month. They can cut that immediately. And then you're just down 10K a month. That doesn't sound fun. But e-commerce, it's 100% on you. Every ounce of it is your fault. Which that's immediately really scary, but it's also super liberating because everything is also within your control. Even Amazon FBA, you're handing over the keys of your business to Jeff Bezos, and he can shut your shit down at any point in time. And look, I sell on Amazon right now through one of my brands. It's a pain in the ass. There's always people like trying to take down your shit. There's issues with Amazon. There's issues with payouts. It's not easy. But again, back to the original question, this applies to anybody. If you're honestly anywhere from 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, you just have to start something and fail fast. Fail fast, lose money. You're buying experience. People call it losing money, reframe it. You're just buying experience, you're accruing XP, you're developing your fucking character. It's like a video game. So that's what I would do if I were you. This fucking guy in the chat said it. Sorry, didn't mean to. You're basically farming XP. You're farming XP during this process. The more of life that you can squeeze in, like I felt like I lived years in that 9-month time frame. That's what it felt like. If you can do that, you are living right. You are living life the right way. Next question. All right, we got a question from Swag Doodle. What's this name, bro? I don't even want to say that shit out loud. Swag Doodle. How do you keep going when you are seeing nothing but failures for months? Well, during this time period where I was just failing, I was also consuming so much positivity. Like every time I was walking to class, just chilling in my dorm room, I was listening to podcasts. I was listening to one podcast in particular, which I love this fucking entrepreneur so much that he was one of the guys that literally shaped my mindset into the man I am today. I don't listen to him as much anymore. But this dude, when I was coming up, man, I would listen to every single one multiple times even. And that guy's name is Tom Bilyeu. You may know him. He's founder of Impact Theory, created Quest Nutrition, exited for $1 billion, and just a cool fucking dude. But that guy, he used to host these things called AMAs, exactly like you're watching right now. But these AMAs were in podcast format, and you'd release them like once a week, and he had like hundreds of them. And I shit you not, I listened to every single fucking show. I listened to most of them multiple times to the point where I would hear him ask a question and I would pause the podcast and I would answer as if I'm Tom Bilyeu. And I would get it right like 99% of the time. I just knew how his brain operated so well. But that guy shaped the way that I think. So even though in my day-to-day, I was eating shit every single day, I didn't even view it that way. I literally just viewed it as like, I was learning. I was learning. Every single product test that was like a quote unquote failure, it was just something I learned. Do I have this fucking shit? Oh, fuck. I'll have to get this another time for you guys. But I literally have journals where I would write down everything that I learned from every single product test. I have multiple journals of this when I was in school, when I was in university. And I'll show them to you guys. I got all the fucking receipts. So in terms of getting through difficult shit, bro, number one is simply reframe it, right? Nothing in this life is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. You're never actually, like, if something quote unquote bad happens to you, you're just viewing it as something bad. And you can change that. You can change that through rewiring your subconscious brain to receiving things that most people would consider bad, but you filter them through your belief system as good. Like, if you lose money, most people, when they're running ads and they're not profitable, they immediately feel the sense of loss. But you now know, this may sound a little fucking retarded, but you now know exactly what doesn't work. And if you find enough things in a row that don't work, you're going to find the one thing that does work. This is literally how I think about my creative tests. If I'm launching like 20 creatives tomorrow and 19 of them just fail, like not even a single fucking sale, they all are cut early. But that one ends up scaling to like 100K in spend. I never would have found that one if I didn't test the 19 before it. So you can rewire your brain, bro, to change your perception of reality. Because again, nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Right? It's a quote in the Bible, as a man thinketh, so is he. I believe that's the exact quote. Someone can check me on that, but yeah. Next question. Summarize your college experience. So I was in college only for 2 years, and it was actually perfect timing because I never intended to finish school. I never intended to finish. I just went to school basically so that my mom would not like whip my ass. And I was a good student, but I put in the minimum viable effort that I needed to get good grades. Anything beyond that, I did not care. I was extremely efficient with my time. Because think about it, I was lifting, I was training every single day. Like training physically. If I show you a photo of what I looked like back in 2018, bro, I want to burn that fucking photo. It's embarrassing. It's all hell. It's fucking crazy actually, but it's also dope because I like the way that I look now. Only when I have a pump, unfortunately. That's like that's a little caveat, but you know, we need to worry about that. But yeah, I was extremely efficient with my time. I would notice that my friends would be studying for like hours upon hours. And I would be like, hey, do you want to like go to the gym? Or hey, do you like want to go play basketball? We can do some cardio, shit like that. And they would just be like, no, I'm studying. I probably wouldn't study more than 2 hours a day, max. But I was just so incredibly efficient. When I was locked in, I was locked the fuck in. I remember I'd walk into my friend's room, like their dorm room, and they would be like chilling back. They got like 2 basketball games on. There's like, 2 girls in there. And there's like 3 dudes. They're just kind of chatting and like kind of half-assed working on homework. And for me, I would sit down. I would put in isochronic tones in my headphones. So the most annoying, it's weirdly annoying, this fucking sound, this tone that it makes. But it basically plays one specific frequency of a tone in your left ear, one specific frequency tone in your right ear, and it creates a difference between the 2 tones called it's called hemisync. There's like an old fucking paper about it. But I don't know if it actually helped. But for me, it got me into a super focused state. And I would put that shit on and I would work for like 2 hours straight with zero distractions whatsoever. And I would be so incredibly locked in that I would finish my homework faster than everybody else because I wanted to work on my business like more than anything. I wanted to just like get jacked and work on my fucking business. That was it. So that's essentially my college experience, man. I was eating a lot, I was training a lot, but I was just going hard, like in every fucking way possible. All right, next question. Do you watch anime? Nah, man, nah. Yeah, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Ultimate FTW. What type of funnel do you use when starting to test a new product? So, listen, if you're, how should I do this? Fuck, not like that. If you're starting out, right, and you're a beginner, like you're relatively new to ecom, I would always recommend that you keep it extremely simple. I actually would use PDPs and just keep everything on Shopify, send all your traffic to a product page. I would be using the Shrine theme, right? Shrine is a great theme. Yeah, it's a great theme, bro. Really great theme. And it's the just basic ass rule, bro. Keep it simple, stupid. If I was a beginner, that's what I would do. Now, if you're a little bit more advanced and you got some more revenue under your belt and you're looking to launch a new product, then you can have some more fun, get a little bit more creative, and identify the best funnel architecture for your brand, which could be like a quiz funnel where you go like quiz to sales page, or you could do like an advertorial funnel where you do advertorial to sales page and then to order page, or you could do a listicle. So it would be like listicle to sales page or listicle like sales page hybrid. That would be interesting. Or if you're really a fucking Chad, you could do go straight to a fucking VSL, fucking on-page VSL. Now those are tough to crack. Those are tough to crack, but they can scale very, very well. All right, question from Sina. Is that? I don't know if that's a Sina that I know. If it is, what's up? Hi, bro. How do you run post-purchase upsells if you're selling to different markets and they buy in their currency on Shopify? GeoFunnels. Yeah, bro. GeoFunnels is going to be the answer. Next question. Thoughts on being in a relationship while trying to start an e-com brand? Well, fuck. If you asked me when I was 18 or 20 or 22, thoughts on being in a relationship while trying to like start your business and get it off the ground, I would be like, women are a distraction, period. 100%. That's what I would have said then. Now, I would probably be a little bit more lenient. Like if you're in a relationship now, like what is your goal at the end of the day? I should really ask that, because for me, I'm not like polygamous, I'm monogamous, trying to find my wife long term, and going through and like dating women as like a fun thing to do. That sounds fucking awful, bro. That sounds like a fucking nightmare. Like going on dates just to like have fun. That does not sound like fucking fun. That doesn't sound like fun at all. But if you're in a relationship already and, you know, based off your criteria, you think that this girl has long-term potential, then I wouldn't let a business get in the way of that. But I would create a very, very clear boundary with her and be like, look, as a man, I'm on my mission right now, and I want to do everything in my power to grow this business so that I can provide the life that we want to have. So what that means is I'm not going to spend as much time with you. I'll find a better way to say this, but what that means is there's going to be times where I'm going to choose I'm going to have to work more on my business than I am going to be spending time with you. I'm still going to make time for you, but this is going to be a priority because of the future I want to build with you. I'd say something along those lines. But if you got a good girl, bro, then ditching a good girl just so that you can build a business, I think that's fucking stupid. I think it's a lot easier to build a business and find a good long-term woman to be with. The key there being a good long-term woman. Finding a shit woman is pretty fucking easy. All right, next question. When will we get a day in the life? Like, show us your day to day. I'm not gonna make that video, man. I titled the video like "Day in the Life of a Psycho Millionaire," and I didn't actually go through my day like you're following me around, but I did show you my actual fucking schedule. And the reason I don't create those videos is because it's fucking boring. I have built the businesses that I built so I can live the life that I want to live. And honestly, if I look back and I think of the days in my life where I was like, those were amazing days. Those were really good days. It was days when I was working my fucking ass off. It was days where I was working a lot of hours. I was going to the gym and having an amazing workout. I was probably playing basketball or training MMA or doing something like cardio-wise. I was probably getting at least a little bit of sunlight, and I was probably doing at least one thing social, whether that's just like hanging out with one friend or going to dinner with some friends or family or whatever. But if it includes those things, that's like a really good day for me. I don't feel good when I have like a day in the life of most of the influencers that you see online, where they wake up at like 9 a.m., they have their whole fucking productivity ass bullshit fucking routine. And then they work for like 2 hours, then they go to the gym, then they work for like another 2 hours, and then they go to a super nice dinner, and then they go out to a club late at night, and then they're back at home like 1 a.m. I'm like, you worked for 4 hours, bro. And for them, sorry, that's let me chill out. If that's a life that they want to live, that's cool. But for me, I don't feel good when I work like that, bro. I feel like I have a lot more to contribute to the world. I have a lot more to build. I have projects that I'm working on right now that are super exciting. And to me, e-commerce marketing in general, it's a game of mastery. It's not a game of fucking lifestyle. I could not give a flying fuck about the lifestyle piece. That's why I wear the same shit every day. I have the same routine, and I work a lot of fucking hours. But the cool thing about e-com is that whatever you want it to be, it can be yours. If you want to just have 10K month profit coming in and you're working like 2 hours a day, doable. If you want to be making 7 figures a month, working 12 hours a day, but you're building something fucking awesome and you're trying to exit, also doable. Like, there's not a lot of models out there where you can have the best of both worlds. It's quite literally just exactly what you make it to be. All right, next question. Will you ever do gym content? Probably not, bro. Probably not. I've gotten really good at saying no to things. So if you're like, are you going to make this kind of content? The answer is probably no. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Maybe I'll make an unlisted video and I'll like go through workout and just people that are really interested can watch it. But posting to the actual channel, I don't really, you know. You're watching a shirtless dude, guys. Like, here you are on a Monday night on your phone or on your laptop and you're watching a shirtless dude. You got some fucking explaining to do, man. You got some serious fucking explaining to do. And now you want to see my workout? I think you've seen enough, bro. All right, next question. Which app do you use for split testing product pages? You can use IntelliGems. IntelliGems is a good one. And I don't know where you're hosting your PDPs. If it's just on Shopify, you can use IntelliGems. You can also use, if you're building like landers, you know, not just like PDPs, and we use Replo, for example. You can split test on there. But IntelliGems is kind of like the industry standard for split testing. Do advertorials work only for older demographics? No, this is a common misconception. It just all depends on how you execute it, right? Because advertorials as a format is not the problem. The problem is when you write copy that is clearly tailoring towards people over the age of 40, but you're marketing to people under the age of 40. Like, it's not a funnel architecture problem. It's just a copywriting problem, right? So I was consulting with a guy. He owns like this sunglass brand, and they're doing shit. I think they're doing 7 figures a month now. But anyways, he was like, do you think I should test advertorials? And I actually told him yes, even though he's selling mostly to people between like 20 and 40 years old. And I told him yes, because there's some really interesting angles that you can cook up with advertorials, especially listicles as well. Listicles can work really, really well for the younger demographics. Like if you look at, yeah, anyways, you guys know the fucking brands. Eric, you said on AF podcast to not worry about sourcing on day 0, to just run ads, and if you get good performance, then figure out sourcing. Yeah, that's true. That's 100% right. How would you price your offer if you don't know your COGS? So it's funny. I just had a call in BBA, and I was helping somebody with this because what happened with this particular client, and if you're on here, you're the fucking man, and you're very close. But basically what the mistake that a lot of people make is they price their products so low that they end up shooting themselves in the foot. And when they do actually try to scale, it's so fucking hard to be profitable. So I have like 2 rules for profitability and for pricing your product in general. And an important note here, little asterisk, is the more, the better. The more, the better. And you'll understand what I mean when I get to it. All right. So rule number 1 is you only want to sell products for 3x what you can get them for. So 3x of your cost of goods sold, right? So if you're getting a product for $20 on AliExpress or wherever you're sourcing your products, I just use AliExpress because it's people are just like drop shipping AliExpress, same thing, right? So I say that because that'll be a $60 price point on $20 cost of goods. This includes shipping, by the way. Make sure you include shipping in this number. I know technically it's not included, but you get the idea. Number 2 is a minimum of a $20 margin, because in the case of the guy today that I was helping out, the issue he had was he was getting this product for like, I'm just going to use like a more round number, not his actual numbers, but let's say he was getting the product sourced for $5. So he was like, okay, cool. So I'll sell the product for $15, right? Lower the better, right? That's 3x your cost of goods. I'll sell for $15. The second rule negates that, because you have to also have a minimum of a $20 margin. And honestly, guys, this is being so fucking conservative. I personally don't sell anything under a $30 margin. And honestly, that's even on the low side for me. So like when I say the more the better, the more margin you can have here, the better. The more multiple of your cost of goods that you can have, the better. So when it comes to testing, I'd be looking at my competitors and where they're priced at. And a good rule of thumb is just to price right around where the competitor's at. The whole idea of like, it's so fucking dumb. They're like, I'll just sell it for $5 less than my competitor, and then I'll scoop up all their customers. Like, brother, you're spending $10 a day on ads. You're not scooping up shit. So point being, just price it like basically what the competitor is pricing it at, but make sure you meet these profitability rules. If you can't meet these rules and sell at a reasonable price point, don't fucking sell the product. That means that you need to move on and find another product. That's what that fucking means. Matthew, Oh, fuck. Where did the question go? Sorry, Calvin. Dude, one thing gurus never talk about are the high CPMs. I have a CTR between 5 and 8% of my ads, but can't get, holy shit, CPO lower than $2 to $3 because of extremely high extremely high CPMs. So, yeah, there's a reason that most gurus don't talk about CPMs. It's because they don't actually fucking know how to decrease them. CPMs are a really complicated thing, man, actually, because there's so many things that influence them. However, what I see the majority of the time, let's see if I can boil it down to like a few different things, all right? Is if you're starting running ads and you have high CPMs, it's typically because of, you know, a few things. And there's a lot more, which I'll get to, but let's just go over like the major ones, right? Number one is you didn't warm up your ad account. This is super, super common, okay? If you're going and launching ads on a brand new ad account and you go straight into conversion ads at like, let's say $50 a day, you didn't warm up the account whatsoever. You just tried to fucking raw dog that ad account. You think that's gonna go well? Raw dog the ad account? No, man, you have to warm it up. You have to warm up the ad account. The ad account is what you have to warm up. And so what you can do, like simple warm up process, depends how extensive you want to do, how extensive you want to be, but you can easily set up 2 campaigns that will help you warm up the ad account, and then you slowly scale up with the conversion ads. So what you can do is set up 2 campaigns, a PPE campaign, engagement campaign, and a page likes campaign. Technically, they're both engagement campaigns, but page likes and page post engagement. That's what PPE means. You can set those up. You let those run at $10 a day each for 2 to 3 days. Next, when you actually start running conversion ads, don't go straight to like $50 a day. Start at $10 a day, then go to 20, then go to 30, then go to 40, then go to 50. That's a better way to warm up your ad account, okay? So that's like the first thing, people to warm up the ad account. The next thing is their ads and their landers are super non-compliant. This was the case of the guy that I was working with today. I was looking at his ads and his CPC was a little high. His CPMs, when I checked them, were $150. And I was like, oh my God, this is insane because you have like an 8% CTR. How do you fix this? And I was like, okay, let me take a look at your ads. Let me take a look at this. Let me take a look at that. And a few things that I saw. Number one, he was selling the click, not the product, right? So you can easily have CTRs of like 6%, 8%, 10%. You can flex that on fucking money, Twitter, all that you want. But at the end of the day, you're not making any fucking money because your funnel's not converting people at a high level and you're just selling the click. You're not selling the product. I like to qualify people on the ad, and I'm not a huge fan of doing like super clickbaity stuff to get them onto the lander, and then the lander has to do the job of converting people. I've ran both structures before. I prefer the one where you're selling the product because I think over time the pixel will have a better time finding buyers compared to finding people that are just kind of interested, what I call like curiosity clicks, all right? So what I mean by super non-compliant is they're just aggressive. They're using copy that is very, very aggressive. They're using like before and after photos. They are being super sensationalist with the copy, super exaggerated. Maybe they're even using clips in their ads or their static ads that are like before and afters, or that are like, once again, super sensationalist. Like it kind of comes down to the same things. If you were to put yourself in Zuck's shoes and be like, is this piece of content going to provide a positive or negative user experience for my users? And you had to pick one. It's either positive or negative. Which one is it going to be? And if your ad starts out like, are you struggling with knee pain? Immediately negative. Literally just using the word you, do you understand, can increase your CPMs. Just saying, are you? Because you're then assuming something, even though you're asking a question, you're assuming something about that person's identity. You know, when people like fucking, left people are like, you assumed my gender. You just fucking assumed that you knew something about the Facebook user. And you know how Facebook is, man. They're not going to fucking like that. They're not gonna like that at all. So what you have to do is you have to clean up your fucking shit. You have to clean up your landers. You have to clean up your creatives and be a little bit less aggressive because, you know, your CTR may drop a little bit, yes. However, your CPMs won't be through the fucking roof and you'll actually be able to scale. In terms of these two guys, by the way, I actually see the landers being a bigger issue than the ads. It could be both, but like if I had to pick one, it's probably more so the lander. And the way that you can test this, by the way, the way that you can fucking test this is you set up a very simple bridge page. A bridge page is like a page that is in between the ad and your landing page, like your ad and your PDP. And it literally just has like an image, a little bit of text, and a call to action button. Super, super short, super clean, super white hat, super friendly. Something that is absolutely positively not going to increase your CPMs. And you can see just by changing the lander, does that reduce your CPMs? If it does, you know that you got to fix your fucking lander. That's a simple way to fucking test this. You know what I mean? Let's see. I'll boil it down to one other thing regarding CPMs because a lot of it is also just the niche that you're selling in. So there are some niches that are significantly more competitive than others. And there's nothing that you can do about this aside from change the niche that you're in. For example, selling in markets like pain relief, like beauty, like skincare, like hair care, like back pain, wrist pain, hand pain, nerve pain, selling stuff related to your teeth. Those are all competitive ass niches, man. Now, those are red markets. So there's also a shit ton of buyers in there. But there's also a shit ton of competition. That's how it works. So that's a CPMs issue. Anyways, I could go on for hours about CPMs, but this should cover your bases for like 90% of you. Because if I were to look at your ads and I was to look at your ad account, you probably didn't warm it up. You probably are using pretty aggressive assets and you're probably in a pretty competitive niche. So if you fix those, that can help a lot. Another thing is like images versus videos, right? You can also split test running statics versus like video ads, because most people go to like straight to videos, and videos almost always have higher CPMs than statics, so you can test that as well. All right, next. Should a complete beginner use any sort of funnel or just add a PDP? Just add a PDP. I answered that a little bit earlier in depth if you want to go back and check that out. Do you recommend starting a luxury brand? If yes, how would you go about doing that? No. Luxury brands typically take, there's obviously exceptions, but the exceptions prove the rule that luxury brands most of the time take a lot of time to make money. Like think of any luxury brand right now in your head. It's been around for decades. Decades. I'm not that patient. Here we go. Good question. Keto recipes. Do you model ClickBank funnels for examples because they run converting VSL and OTO, etc.? Because this is what Russell Brunson used to be doing in old times. I do spend a lot of time in ClickBank. Yep. It's a great way, a great place to look at. Mark, you ever tried the try before you buy checkout where you make the whole due today equals 0 and set up an authorized charge for half weeks later? Friend tried this and have around 10% CVR. I have tried this, not at scale. The reason I don't do this comes down to approval rates, because I want to face payment issues immediately before I have to fulfill a product. So like this makes it very, very difficult for cash flow purposes to be able to scale. If you don't get any funds, you don't even get the payment for 7 days. Or what did you say? Like a half week? Half week later. Yeah, usually it's like 7 days later. If anything, I would do like pay $1 today and then pay the rest in 7 days from now, because then at least you capture the payment and you don't get a lot of people that like, dude, I promise you, if you spend a lot of time running up volume and then you look at your payment processor and you look at the payment processing history, you see how many people use fake cards, how many people use expired cards, how many people use stolen cards. It's a fucking lot. If you've ever really run up an offer before, it's fucking like depressing to see this shit. Like how many people are trying to pay and basically like not try to scam you, but they're trying to pay without paying in some way, shape, or form. So for cash flow purposes and for those purposes, and also for compliance purposes, it's very much a difficult thing to balance. I don't do it. But if you're doing like buy now, pay later through like Sezzle, Afterpay, Klarna, that is obviously fine because they're financing it for you. You're getting the cash immediately, but they're financing the customer. Gerardo, opinion on ripping content when starting out. Also opinion on AI UGC. So look, I acknowledge that ripping content works very well for many people. I don't do it. I do not rip content. I do not rip content. And the reason why is very simple. I think I'm better. I think I'm better. And the data continues to prove that I am better than a lot of people that are running like really successful ads. Also at my stage of like the main brand that I'm running, we are building a very valuable asset that we want to exit in, X amount of time, right? It's very important that we do things by the books. So if you're looking for like black hat shit, you're looking for like ripped content, I'm not going to be the guy. I'm aware of all these strategies just because I've been in the game for a while and I have a lot of friends or friends of friends that have used these strategies at one point or another. But, I don't use them. I don't use them. So I don't recommend using them either, especially because it can give you a lot of fucking headaches, man. Like your likelihood of getting banned by, especially Facebook, just goes up so exponentially that it's just not worth it for me. Next question. Eli, hey Mark, you mentioned before the type of funnel depends on the level of sophistication and level of consciousness. Can you explain this a little bit more? Yeah, it's less consciousness and more sophistication and awareness. So what I mean by that is every product, until it is marketed heavily enough, becomes a commodity. So for example, if you think about bread and you're going to go buy a loaf of bread, are you going to see a Facebook ad, watch a 4-minute VSL, go to an advertorial, go through a sales page, order page, and then put in your credit card and end up paying like hundreds of dollars for what was supposed to be one loaf of bread? Fuck no. That's because bread as a product has gone through every stage of sophistication to the point where it's now a commodity. The only thing is just that changes really is just the brand and the ingredients. Like people can't really compete on mechanisms. You can't really compete on funnels. You can't compete on anything. You just go to the fucking store and buy the shit. And that same concept is true for all products. They all exist on this spectrum of levels of sophistication. The perfect market to think of, if you want to study levels of sophistication, number one, you need to read Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz, because he was the guy that came up with this fucking shit and all of like the main fundamental laws of marketing that we all know and love today. A lot of the laws that Hormozy just used like over the past few days to sell like millions of dollars on a live webinar, it all dates back to this motherfucker. And then his stuff dates back to people before him. It's always like, there's always a million strands of history. Anyways, point being that if you're in a market, you need to identify the level of sophistication that it's at. Most of them are going to be between levels 3 and 4 of sophistication. So what that means is if you take the GLP-1 market, for example, and you think of like semaglutide, what's the other one? Tirzepatide, I think. Not retatrutide. That one's just for fucking bodybuilders. But you think about that market, right? I have a friend that owns a brand in that market, and he's made a lot of freaking money with that brand. No advertorials, no VSLs, no fancy direct response shit. Literally just ads to a PDP. That is it. How is he able to do that? How is he able to scale to such large numbers by doing that? Well, it's because there's such mass levels of education that happened with that market over the past few years. Go on Google Trends and look at GLP-1, look at semaglutide, look at Ozempic, and look at just how explosive they have been. So not super extensive funnels are necessarily needed when you're selling a product that has such high levels of sophistication. So there's a lot of other factors that go into like identifying the proper funnel type, but that is the main one. Kai, Mark, is it weird that I don't listen to online gurus anymore if they don't have their shirt off and don't listen to Yeet and aren't jacked? I don't think that's weird at all, brother. Matter of fact, you got your fucking head screwed on right. This thing is working up there, bro. Respect. Hey, Mark, love the content. Do you use your own ad SOPs for the current ads you use? Yeah, of course. Yeah, we have a bunch of SOPs for all of our ad processes. Yes. Is the wealth building niche still strong in 2025? I'm talking about digital product to be exact. Absolutely. Yes. Did you buy Hormozy new book? Does a bear shit in the woods? Is a frog's ass watertight? Next question. Anyways. Grims, I've been optimizing for sales. $50 daily for 2 to 3 days. Should I let it run longer? Usually if I spend $100 no sales, I kill and iterate. I'm more experienced in doing PDPs and warming up pixels. Wait, what? You're more experienced in doing PDPs than warming up pixels? What the fuck does that mean? Is warming up pixels a skill? Oh man, the pixel warming up thing is so silly. It's technically true. Like you feed more data to the pixel, it becomes better at finding your customer. But fuck, man, people really draw that shit out. They really fucking stretch it. All right, the actual question though, usually like it depends on the data, man. If you're asking if you should be spending for longer, if you don't have a sale after $150, I would 100% cut it. Yeah. Even $100 in sales, I'd probably cut it. But it depends what your leading indicators are. You know, if you're selling a $100 product and you spent $100 with no sale, but you have like 5 checkouts initiated, then I would continue to let that run, right? The data, it's always telling you a story. And the more data points that you can look at, it's like you're building more of the story. Does a one-legged duck swim in a circle? Yeah, man. You get it. You say you recommend 4K to start off. Is all of us going into the ads? No, but most of it. Next question. Warming a pixel is extremely hard, bro. You need a hella skill or else you're not going to make it. Dude, that's what was going through my head, man. I was like, man, this is the next level that I got to reach. I got to figure out how to warm up my pixel, man. Fuck. You would have thought spending $40,000 a day would warm it up, but man, I guess I'm not fucking there yet. Someday I'll get it. Maybe you can teach me. Brian, are all the advanced AI options in Meta shit, or do you recommend using some of them? Most of them are shit. Yeah. I typically don't use them whatsoever. The only one that I will occasionally use is mixing in different ad copies with one creative, but everything else, same. Swag. How hard is it to find A player employees for marketing and ops? Dude, finding A players in general is relatively hard. If it were easy, everybody would do it. And by the way, what does it matter? So okay, let's say it's hard. Now what? Are you gonna not hire an A player? Like you need to ask better questions. How hard is it to find an A player? What if I said it was the hardest thing on the fucking planet? Would you do it? Would you just go and settle for like B players and C players and watch your business stagnate? Yeah, of course it's hard, man. Anything worthwhile is fucking hard. I'm hard. Well, it's a good place to end it. All right, guys, thank you so much for being in the live. This was a fun one, but I do have to wrap it up, and we got to cue the outro. You know how it goes. You know how I be. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the questions. If you don't know already, if you like all the questions here and the questions I'm answering, you would love it inside of BBA. It's my mentorship program I own with my partner, Alex. If you want to apply, you can hit the first link in the description. And yeah, I think that's about it. So in this case, it's time to cue the outro. And I know what I'm doing now. I really do. It's just going to take about, 30 seconds, give or take. But, at least I know what I'm doing now, right? Right? What should we play today? What do we play today? We had a classic initially. Oh, actually, this is perfect.
Squad made the beat.
Go, Grizz.
We was coolin', smoking, minding our own business. Why you hating? Why you mad? Why you lying, bitch? I don't care about nobody but my own clip. And if he tests, we gon' show him how to throw a fit.
Fuck a bitch, boy, and fuck a nigga too, shit. I give no fuck about who the fuck you coolin' with. You gon' all fall, look, nigga, let's get started with it. I ain't a friend, I'm the end, nigga, deal with it.
I'm in tip-top shape, I wouldn't play with it. I smoke 100 new blunts when the day began. What we eatin' today, my nigga, I feel Italian. What's your name again, babe? I wasn't listening.
Fuck a bitch, boy, and fuck a nigga too, shit. I give no fuck about who the fuck she came with. They all scheming for a reason to be seen here. I told the bitch, oh no thank you, I don't need you, dear.
You see me riding solo and I don't need shit. I light a blunt, then forget about a hating bitch. Why you mad, boy? You could've been on the same shit. But you a lame with no lane to your name, bitch. I'm a East Memphis nigga, we ain't gon' chill with you. We don't spray and we ain't gon' cut no damn deals with you. Fuck fair, nigga, I'ma keep it real with you. I make your main bitch turn the other cheek to you.
Fuck a bitch, boy, and fuck a nigga too, shit.